Welcome to Ecom Insiders Podcast. My name is Debbie, and this event is being sponsored by SPCTEK. Today's topic is going to be the latest changes to Amazon's AI algorithm. And my guest's name is John Tilley. He's the CEO of ZonGuru. John is the co-founder and CEO of ZonGuru, which is a technology toolset that can help e-commerce brands and agencies scale on Amazon through data intelligence and automation. It was launched in 2016, and their vision was just to create a set of operational tools that could focus on solving Amazon's seller challenges. That delivered the most impact on scaling revenue and profits. And before ZonGuru, John spent 15 years working as an advertising strategist for some of the top digital agency in Johannesburg, London, and Los Angeles. In 2014, he launched multiple successful private labels on Amazon, and that started his path to where he is today. So welcome, John. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that introduction. Yeah, the accent is definitely South African originally, but I'm here in Los Angeles.
So, John, I am really interested in today's topic because I know very little about some of Amazon's AI algorithms. So I'm hoping that you can teach me as much as you teach everyone else. All right. So tell me a little bit about how you feel like Amazon's AI algorithms have evolved over the years.
Yeah, this is a topic which has been really interesting for sellers over the years. At a high level, what sellers are trying to do is understand how is the A9 algorithm, Amazon's algorithm technology, um, how is it getting information from your products, your storefront, and how is it then assessing that information and then giving you organic visibility to get in front of customers, right? And at a high level, if you think about it, Amazon's business model, they want to make sure that they are getting the latest, greatest, best products in front of customers when they're searching for a product. So not necessarily always the product that's selling the most, but they for longevity of a business, they want to make sure that when customers are searching for a product, a water bottle, whatever it is, that they are going to get surfaced, the latest cutting edge product that is of good quality, that's going to wow their customer and get them to enjoy the experience and then go back and repurchase, etc. Right? So that's what the algorithm is trying to do. Now, we have certain indications from Amazon as to what they are looking for, and importantly, over the years, what are they looking for that matches their business model, right? Are they looking for the latest, greatest, newest products, better, high quality, things that are moving through their inventory fast, that have great account health because that's going to give them more profit at the end of the day, selling price, etc. Right? So they look at all these factors, and the dynamics of that have changed over the years. And it's a black box, right? So as sellers, as technology third-party service providers, we don't have insight into exactly what that algorithm looks like, and we've just got to, use our testing, our abilities, our understanding of technology to figure out, hey, what are they actually, and people that we know on Amazon side, hey, what are they actually looking for, and then move forward on that. So over the years, it's been a little bit mysterious. Like, well, they have, all this great, amazing technology in the algorithm, but at the end of the day, it was pretty straightforward engineering math, right? It was, hey, what are the various search terms that customers are searching for in a product? What are they? How do you find them? And then, how do you, from a mathematical perspective, put that into your listing? And they would rate, whether a keyword that customers are searching for exact matches or broad matches somewhere in your listing. And if there was a conversion of a sale that came from that, there would be additional juice that would go to the algorithm. So that was from the content piece, but then there were other factors that are also part of that. So how much are you spending on PPC? What's the health of your storefront? How many ratings do you have? Reviews? What's your rate of return? All of these various aspects that would help Amazon to identify, hey, do you have a great product that you can sell? But more importantly, do customers really like it? And are they getting a great experience when they buy that product? So all of that stuff goes into, or did go into the algorithm. Now it's definitely changed over the years, but I'll stop there for a second and
As a matter of fact, that brings me to my next question. What are some of the most recent? See, everyone thinks AI is like just started, right? And AI has been around for a long time and the companies have been using it. But what are some of the most recent things, changes that you're seeing in the Amazon AI algorithm?
yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. AI has been around for a long time. We've been using algorithmic engineering in our products for years, and it was certainly done for years before that, right? With all products. I think from a customer or a consumer perspective now, AI has just become, you know, something that we all use in our day-to-day consumer lives with ChatGPT, right? But in terms of what AI is, it's been around for a long time, and we develop it over time. So yeah, you're right. You're right. Is AI has been a big component of Amazon's algorithm for a long time, and there is this. The latest conversations have been around this idea of, is the algorithm driven by just keywords and what keywords you have in your listing and how that matches and indexes for, and if the algorithm sees that you index for that in your content, therefore it will surface your product based on its assessment of your performance and quality of your product. um, and then there's this idea of like, oh well, the big changes is now becoming more semantic. So it's starting to infer, hey, based on what your product is, your product category, the type of product, yeah, you might be indexed for these keywords right now, but the AI is starting to infer and say, hey, you're part of this product category, and we know these are additional keywords that you should index for or surface for based on what people are typing into Amazon. Therefore, we'll index for you for that as well, and show you based on that. And that was like maybe 6 months ago, everyone was like, oh, it's more semantic, and our feedback on that was like, it's always been semantic, right? You could go back 2 or 3 years and you could type in, if I've got the keyword, if my product is a blue shoe, a blue soccer shoe, and I didn't have blue soccer shoe in my listing, but if I really was selling well, I could type in blue soccer shoe and I would still appear on Amazon's search results, right? So the
Yeah.
point is like, our job as sellers, or and this is more familiar now with people today, is like, our job as sellers is to provide input, as a prompt to the algorithm. So giving it the best keywords, everything that we need, the right indicators, those are all prompts to the algorithm to then make decisions on how you surface. We don't need to write and solve the problem for the AI in terms of exactly how it's going to put everything together and be semantic and everything. All we need to do is give our best shot of like, hey, here's all the prompted information. You guys then make the decisions as an AI as to how you need to surface it. But we need to prompt it in the best way possible. And that's our job as sellers, right?
Yeah, so I know when we are correcting listings and stuff like that, and we're looking for keywords, a lot of times if the sellers have created their own listing, they're not as familiar with how important those keywords become in the search and the search algorithm and stuff like that. So we talked a little bit about the search algorithm, but are there different types of AI algorithms that are being used by Amazon?
Yeah. So yeah, I want to kind of carry on from your last point, which is like, so that's kind of where it was, and where's the algorithm and the AI going? Um, in there's been a lot of involvement very recently, in terms of what we're exposed to in the last 6 months, right? One being Cosmo, which is Amazon's AI algorithm, and the way it's starting to look for or surface your products based on you know um, more behavioral intent type of searches, and exploring. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute this for a second. And exploring, um, what is even a broader type of search universe that customers might be typing for, and how can we surface those products. So AI has taken a much more expanded way of being able to surface products, and that's not just based on keyword. That might be based on experience, like, hey, I'm going camping, what do I need, right? and trying to look at how that's going to evolve the actual search experience on Amazon. And that's also led to one of their latest products, which is Rufus, right? And Rufus is only, it's been in beta for a while in the US, but now as part of your consumer app experience, Rufus is available, which is the AI assistant, shopping assistant that is available on on Amazon. And that's really interesting. You can do it today. You can actually go on your Amazon seller app, and instead of typing in a keyword and surfacing storefront results, you can actually ask Rufus a question and go back and forth with Rufus, and it will take you through and engage shopping AI assistant experience, which is completely outside of the normal shopping experience that you have. And that is really interesting. And what Rufus is looking for is quite different to the normal algorithmic keyword research that Amazon is doing. So it's going to start saying things like, I can go like, hey, what are some really good products to take when I'm camping? It's going to give you some results. I can then ask back and forth questions, just like I do with ChatGPT, and get more and more refined in the results. I can go like, hey, what do you recommend? It will then surface specific products. So you can have a whole experience on Amazon right now without even going to a shopping page for a number of prompt questions. And what Rufus is looking for, and how you make sure that at the end of the day, your keywords and your content on your product page matches what Rufus is looking for. That is a step that's been taken in a while that we really have to answer. And we can get into how we answer that, but part of that now is not only content in your listings, but it's how is Rufus reading your images. It's not just looking at HTML tags anymore. It's actually reading the content in your images. And is that
Oh.
image content filling what Rufus is actually looking for, or should the content in your images be slightly different to be able to answer the questions that Rufus is looking to fill the gaps with? So it's taking a lot more, uh, you know, beyond the it's just it's treating Rufus more as like a human aspect of what it's actually looking for in your listings.
And Rufus is actually an Amazon tool?
Rufus is the name given to Amazon's AI assistant. So you can
Okay,
go
all
on
right.
your Amazon seller storefront right now, and where that search bar is, it'll say, hey, you can search or you can type a question. So just like you would do with ChatGPT today, and the consumers are doing this more and more, you would just type in there. You wouldn't go, uh, you know, blue water bottle for camping. Instead of me putting that into Amazon and seeing what the results are, I would put in, hey, what are some great blue water bottles that I could use for camping and cycling, and what do you recommend, right? So you're having more of a conversation rather than typing in a specific keyword to get a result. And so what it then surfaces, it's going to say, hey, for camping, there's actually these great bottles, but also you can use it for these things. What else do you want to know? And then you would have that the normal AI engagement part. And so that evolution on Amazon is leading to a lot more different ways of making sure that you can optimize your listing. And that's where we're seeing where Amazon is going, which is, yes, content in your listings. What are you putting your back in search terms? EBC, A plus premium content. What are you actually writing? What those 2nd through 7 images and in your A plus content? What are the benefits that you're including in your copy? Because it's reading that now, and that feeds what the algorithm is looking for. How do I look beyond just search intent words and look at more behavioral, words? These are important things that because of the capability of the AI being a lot broader in terms of you know coverage of different ways that you can use a product, you need to make sure you're feeding that to the algorithm.
So do you think that these changes obviously will impact the Amazon seller? Is it going to be the way that they write the listing, that they're now not going to be keyword focused, but they're going to be more, benefit focused?
Yes, I think that is an important piece, right? So you can this is a so we have on in ZonGuru we have a ChatGPT. We were the first in the space to launch an AI integration into our listing optimization tool. It's called ChatGPT. We're on ChatGPT 4 Omni right now. But what we're constantly testing is what are the prompts that we're giving ChatGPT, and how do we finesse those further based on keywords, but also it was originally just keywords, like, hey, what are the right kind of keywords, and let's write the content in the way that is best matched to the algorithm, which, to your point, you can, as a seller, you can write content all day, but if you're not writing it with the right structure, you're not maximizing the potential SEO benefit you got from your listing. So number one, you need to write the listing in the right way, but that's evolving further right now, which is not just like, hey, these are all the keywords and how we write the content, but it's expanding that further into, hey, this is the general universe of keywords that and the product, but what are some of the other different behavioral types of ways of this product being used? What are some of the other additional intent ways of doing it? And then feeding that also into the ChatGPT to then come up with the right kind of content. So your content and how you write your bullets, your descriptions, your backend search terms, being a little bit more broad context is critical right now, because that's the kind of stuff that the Rufus and Cosmo are looking for. And in addition to that, understanding now, not just on the content of your piece, but for your images, yes, your images are there to drive conversion, right? Which is, hey, we need to tell a story. Everyone's buying by looking at the images, and we've always been really good at what our content goes into the images. But it's even more important now, because that content that goes into your images is important to help with the conversion and to tell the story of the product, which is your number one thing. But actually, what's in those images is the AI is reading that now and using that to infer, what you should be ranking for. So, it's much more apparent today that not only the content in the listing, but your images, the content that's in the images also feeds into the algorithm.
Yeah, I've also noticed that the AI is now taking the product reviews and kind of pulling out main bullet points to summarize, the totality of all of the reviews and stuff like that. Um, what other kinds of changes, like pricing? I mean, product recommendations. What are other kind of changes that you're going to see because of AI?
Yeah, I think you're right. So reviews is a big piece that's feeding into that. Questions and answers. Any information now that helps to give the AI a fair reflection on what the market is and what customers are looking for and what they think about your product is important. So it's feeding a lot more of, like, not just like, hey, what do we think we should put in front of customers? What are customers actually looking for? And that is evolving into, and where it's going to go is more of a personal recommendation of me, John Tilley, and what are my personal preferences? What is my uh, search history? What is my purchase history? And that feeding into Rufus, and Rufus being smarter about what it's going to recommend, right? It knows that I only wear, uh, you know, prefer, men's large XL shirts or whatever it is. So it's gonna feedback that into my listings, etc. So it, those are things that are going to help evolve it, um, to not just be, hey, this is what I'm searching for and this is what the market is recommending, but these are recommendations I'm giving based on your actual personal preferences, your profile, and expanding on that, right? And that evolves into not just searching for specific products, but events. Hey, you're going away on this weekend. These are, what, do you have everything you need, or is there anything else that you're looking for? And here's some recommendations. It's going to evolve into that much more experiential type of experience, right?
So, do you think that these changes will actually address maybe some potential biases that might have existed in some of the previous versions? Or we're still going to see PPC and some of that type of stuff play into the product that's pulled into your, viewing?
Yeah, I mean, I think those biases are always going to be there, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges of Amazon as it evolves
Yeah.
as an industry leader is, we've always seen over the years that Amazon is actually, all the mistakes that Google made as they grew, Amazon is kind of, all the mistakes and wins that that Google has made over the years, Amazon is kind of like 3 or 4 years behind that, and they're doing all the same things, right? So Google went through that whole phase of like, hey, we have a great search results page. Oh, we're making money off PPC. Let's push more PPC ads. Great. We're making so much more money. oh, but hold on, now the actual customer experience is starting to get impacted. So we need to dial back PPC, give organic more of a position. How do you find that right balance so that, yes, we're making as much money as God wants us to make, or our investors or whatever it is, and that's a big driver. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we're still holding on to the customer experience, because if
Yeah.
that starts to really get impacted, they're going to start to lose market share and customer eyeballs, right? So Amazon's in that place right now where, like, in the last 2-3 years, they're like, oh my goodness, we can make so much money off PPC, and they are. But they've got, everyone's like, oh, is organic going to go away? No ways. It's actually going to, they have to get that balance right, and they're going to have to, because that's, they can't impact the overall customer experience. So yes, there's going to be more richer organic customer experience type of engagements, and they're always going to surface the best, greatest, latest, newest products, because they have to, because customers are going to want to be able to see that. And there's always going to be a paid element. Hopefully, knock on wood, they start to get the balance right there, so that it's not overwhelming it's not taking away, that bias is not overwhelming and taking away from the core essence of what we're trying to find on Amazon as customers, right? So they're certainly going to, as the AI assistant gets more integrated, there's going to be a paid aspect on that as well, which is like, okay, Rufus is going to say this, but hey, if you want to get into that experience, you're going to pay some money, right? So they're going to build that in for sure at some point, but hopefully they get the balance right, so that the customer's still going to benefit from the experience.
So, what do you think that Amazon would need to do in order to ensure maybe some transparency and explainability of its AI algorithms for people who have been accustomed so long to really basing it on the keywords and stuff like that? Is Amazon doing a good job of just explaining what's going on with these updates?
No, no, they're not.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, why we have a place in the market as third party service providers, is that, it's our job as engineers, as data people, to, as experts in Amazon, and the algorithm, as to try and infer, hey, what does it need to help grow? And we do get feedback internally from Amazon, in terms of where they're going, what potentially the algorithm is looking for, and how we can improve that. So, that is our job. Um, what I would just say to sellers is like, don't get too stressed out about it, right? Like, oh my goodness, the whole thing's going to turn, like, our business is going to get turned upside down. No, it's not, right? At the end of the day, you have to do your best job of creating amazing products and communicating that amazing product to your customers. And the good thing is that Amazon is starting to lean more on, hey, tell the best story you can. You don't have to overstuff keywords. You don't have to do whatever. You write your listing professionally. You show amazing products. You tell the story, and you deliver an amazing product with a great experience. And that should be enough for us to then take that and sell the products through, and don't get returns, and just have a high good health score rating. And if you can do a good job on that, um you're gonna tell the algorithm what it needs, and you're gonna surface in the right way, right? So that's what we can do now. Obviously, there's tricks and things that we need to do around
Yeah.
that, but at its 80%, you have to deliver a great product and communicate it in a great way. If you do that, there's 20% around that can help you get the growth. But sellers get mixed up on that, and they're like, oh, I've got a crappy product, and I'm going to push it out there, and I'm going to take all these hacks to try and improve it, and that's where they fall down, right?
You kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask you, how can the small businesses really optimize their product listing? But when you said to tell a story, I think maybe that's the most appropriate way to tell people how they can benefit from Amazon's AI. It's been so really just those keywords, short keywords, long tag, all of that type of stuff that people have been doing. And I kind of like the fact now that we're really getting back to the principle of the product and what the product does, how it benefits you, the value of the product, all of that type of stuff. So, if you're missing information or you have incomplete data in your product listing, will AI still be able to identify the opportunities for that product?
Potentially, but I think the challenge there is to say, hey, don't leave any opportunities off of the table, right? So your job as a seller is, number one, to have an amazing product. Number two is to have stock, and number three
Yeah.
is to have an amazing listing that is telling the story, but is also written in the right way for what the algorithm is looking for. So there is a technical piece to that, right? And so that's where technology like ours come into place. Like you can write an amazing listing and you can put it up there, but in terms of the structure of that listing, how you exact broad match for keywords, how they go into your listing, um, have you got all the keywords that is covering the universe of what's looking for? Do you have all the intent use cases covered, the behavioral intent use cases covered? Have you got that in the right place in listing bullets, back-end images? There's all those technical pieces that need to be solved for. And what's good about AI on our side and ChatGPT is that we can technically prompt AI how to do that. And we can say, hey, write a story about this, but write it with the right structure so that, in a minute, you're getting the right structural way of optimizing your listing that you can then finesse further and then put into place in your listing. So you have the right structural optimization with all of those use cases covered, so that you're giving your listing the best shot of getting the maximum traffic and conversion. And then your job is to use everything else that Amazon gives it to you, promotions, lightning deals, PPC, etc., to drive
Yeah.
traffic to it and sell,
Well,
right?
let's say that I am a seller on Amazon and I'm thinking, oh, I probably do need to integrate some AI. What are your best practices? I mean, and do you find that there are also AI tools out there that aren't effective, that people are just jumping into AI and don't really know what they're doing? I mean, tell us a little bit about some of the best practices that we can use to ensure that we have best optimization for AI.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advantages we see um, between how we are creating content for listings versus someone who just goes there and uses ChatGPT, etc., is the inputs that we're giving. So it's the same thing, right? ChatGPT is an output of
Mm.
a result based on the questions that you ask it. And today in your daily practice, if you're asking ChatGPT a silly question, you're going to get a silly answer. And it's about how smart you are with your questions, and maybe how iterative you are on the questions that you ask, where you really start to get amazing content. So it's like it might take 4 or 5 questions to get amazing content from ChatGPT. The same thing happens on writing content for listings. If you don't have the right inputs, the right data inputs, to then prompt the right smart questions to ChatGPT to give you the right answers, that's where your shortcoming is, right? And so we're in the position right now where we know, based on our APIs, the intelligence that we can get from Amazon, we know all the types of keywords that customers are searching for on Amazon. What are the most relevant ones? What are the different use cases? What is Rufus looking for in images? Is that covered? What are some of the all of those different pieces? We know what those are, and we're collecting all of that and then prompting the output content solution that covers it and structurally writing it the right way based on what the algorithm is looking for. So if you don't know that back end piece, that's where some tools are falling short. Or if you're just a seller on your own going to ChatGPT, you're going to fall short because you're getting content that might not cover every use case or keyword, and certainly they might not be put into the listing in the right way to maximize every sale opportunity that comes off
Yeah.
of those keywords.
So it matters if you're paying if you're buying AI tools that really are within Amazon versus just using any AI tool out there.
um, it matters on how you prompt those tools. So you can use
Okay.
ours, you can use whatever you want, but if you don't have the right information to prompt it, you're not going to get the right result, right? And so we test today, like, hey, if I ask Rufus a question, what are the answers going to give me? And we ask ChatGPT the same kind of question, and with a bit of styling of that, finessing, we can get a very similar result. So it's about um, the type of questions and the information that you have and how you prompt the AI to get a result. And then the other piece that I think is really interesting with our tool versus any other ones is we don't just tell you, hey, let's say you write a piece or you use our AI tool or whatever you want, but like when you have a final piece of content, right, we'll give you a rating on that content. Hey, how well is this matched to what Amazon's algorithm is looking for. We'll give it a score out of thousands, right? We don't just tell you what that score is. We allow you to upload your major competitors, and we'll tell you what that score is as well. So, it's twofold. One is like, hey, how do I have the best listing? But number two, is it better than any other listing that's out there, so that I know that I'm maximizing my potential on Amazon? And we answer both those questions. So you can kind of scratch that itch, which is like, okay, well, it's telling me I have a great listing, but is it really the best listing? Well, I can look at my competitors, and I know that I have a better listing than them.
I'm always concerned about account health. Can AI generated product descriptions or titles kind of inadvertently lead to policy violations like misleading claims, exaggerated benefits, or even some of the prohibited terms?
Yes. So I think again, it goes to the questions that you're going to ask of AI. And so, the important thing is there is, like, for instance, in our tool, right? You can prompt AI, hey, write this content, but you can also prompt the AI to say, hey, don't write about these content or these keywords, right? So as the experts, right, you can tell the AI, hey, we know our category, and we know that these are certain terms that will trigger the AI, it will trigger Amazon to ban us or whatever it is. Do not include these pieces of content. And for the most part, AI is going to get it right. The second piece is, we're not creating AI to replace agencies, content writers, experts who understand what needs to go on Amazon. We're there to give you the fastest, best baseline that can then be checked and finessed further before it gets posted on Amazon. So there always needs to be that human element of, like, AI is a great brainstorm, and it's going to do things much faster and get you where it needs to be. But, like, certainly if you're just taking that and posting it directly to Amazon without checking it, you're fundamentally, or finessing it, you're fundamentally falling short, right? So our job is to give you the best. What's the worst thing for a writer is starting with a blank page. If we can give them an amazing baseline in under a minute that they can then check against their knowledge and expertise and finesse further and tweak it a little further, that's where you win, right?
It seems like, John, you're always like one step ahead of me. I was actually going to ask you, should sellers maintain human oversight in their product listings? And you went right to it. So, if a seller wants to leverage the power of AI to improve, let's say, customer satisfaction or even minimize negative impacts, can they do that for their account health?
Um, I don't know the answer to that. I think in terms of, can they get insights as to what customers are looking for and what's going to improve their satisfaction? Yes, absolutely. Um, and understanding where that content comes from reviews, from questions and answers, and finding what those pieces are, and then feeding that to your content creator, whether that's AI or an individual, is great. We actually have a tool which has been around for some time, which does use AI, previous to ChatGPT coming out, which is called Love Hate, which is a word cloud, a simulation around positive and negative review sentiment, and then surfaces that, right, so that you can look at that for product differentiation, for listing content, etc. So yes, like we're just getting smarter and smarter with how we can connect and get data from our customers, our target audience, our ICPs, whatever you want to call them, and then it's how you use that content, that's going to improve what, how you can connect with that customer emotionally, and with what's in your product. Now, what's our job as humans? Our job as humans is, like, if everyone's going to get a great baseline because everyone's going to use ZonGuru and they're all going to have amazing listings, well, that's 90% of the picture. You've just saved yourself, you know 2 hours writing a listing from scratch. So spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes at least, putting your expertise into there to take it to 110%. And don't just be like, oh, well, I'm going to leave it at 90%. So our job as humans is then to say, hey, we've got an amazing baseline. So now let's really focus on our creativity, our expertise to make that thing even better. And that's the beauty of, like, what AI and data does, is, like, it pushes us as humans to just not be lazy, but focus in on our creativity and our expertise, right? So use
Yeah.
that to stand out, right?
Yeah. Now, if sellers want to stay informed about what's happening with Amazon's AI, how would they do that? Where do they ensure that they know what's going on?
Well, I mean, they can connect to our newsletter. We're always updating in there, and obviously, our customer base, they get informed with what's happening in the space. I would say definitely there are a few newsletters out there. It's obviously been somewhat of a growing trend again for the last year, but there's some really great newsletters out there that sellers can connect with. Um, I would say that's probably at a high level the thing that's informing best is and fastest is like you know just being connected to the industry. There's always now whether those content pieces are true is another story, but it'll start to guide you as to hey where is where is the uh, what is the latest trend coming on, right? But this has been a challenge always, right? Which is that there's always a shiny object syndrome. What is out there? Is it actually something that's going to move the needle or not? And that's you as an entrepreneur, seller, you need to rely on like what's the 80/20 or what's moving the needle for my business and use that filter, right?
Yeah. Now, will you see much talk on Seller Forum about Amazon's AI? Are there people talking about it there?
All the time. People are
Okay.
constantly trying to figure out like, hey, how do I how do I know what the AI is looking for and how do I game the system and what needs to be done. Um, as I said, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be too distracted by that. You need to focus on what the 80% is, which is like a great product, great listings, great health, you know, great business practices. If you do that well, you're going to grow regardless. Um, there's certainly newsletters and there's internal groups like $1 Million Seller Club. As a seller, being connected more to those and finding out like some of the smart strategies, which is the 20% outside of the 80% of what you're doing. Those are really helpful at the end of the day. But you know, people just need to recognize that without any of those things, there's still an 80% that you need to do with your business to win. And if you're struggling, it's probably because you haven't got the 80% right. It's not the 20% that you don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you were going to give a final piece of advice to Amazon sellers, and I will tell you, I've been on your website and I loved it when I saw the love hate. I just thought some of the category or some of the headers and stuff like that, you guys did a great job of making it kind of fun as well as, it's a business. But what kind of final piece of advice would you give to Amazon sellers to just navigate through all of this AI that's going on the platform?
Um, I've been in this game a long time from an Amazon industry perspective. I think my long time. Maybe it's specifically Amazon and Amazon selling is probably back to 2013. So, a fair amount of time. And, what was said to me when I started looking at Amazon is like, oh, it's so much harder right now. There's no opportunity anymore. The good old days was last year. We could just put anything and sell it. And that's just always a common theme, right? And so, you're going to hear it today. Oh, the algorithm is changing. It's so much harder to sell right now than it always been. Like the opportunity's gone. It's all a bunch of it's going to be the people are making money hand over fist all the time, launching brand new products, finding opportunities. uh, it becomes harder. You have to rely on data more. You have to be more sophisticated in your business acumen. But the market is growing. There's more opportunities today than there ever has
Yeah.
been to make money on Amazon, to grow a business, to get things going. It's an amazing opportunity. um, and you just have to follow the right business practices. And yeah, it might be a little harder, but therein lies your moat as well to being successful. So don't be discouraged. And certainly if your head's going to the place of like it's harder than it's ever been and it's not worth it, it's probably because you're not doing the right job or tapping into the right opportunities, because they really are there for any type of seller, whether you're a big brand or smaller store or smaller sellers. You've just got to look for the right type of opportunity.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by the number of people who come to us. They're ready, they found their product, they want to get started, and they think that the minute that they get on Amazon, they're just going to start see the sales rolling in because they don't really think of it. They think it's an easy task. You just jump on Amazon and you just start to see sales, and they don't really take advantage of the fact that, or even into account, that it's a business and you are going to have to hone your craft. You don't open a restaurant and just the doors, everybody's there the first day. You have to start getting people in to say, oh, they're good. They put out reviews, that type of stuff. It's the same thing with Amazon. It's not as easy as every little commercial that you would see. Find the next $10,000 product. So I just, from our perspective, sometimes make sure that people understand there's an initial investment, and it's just like any other business. You got to educate yourself. There's time that goes with it, and you're going to probably have to put some money, and you're going to have some months that you don't make a lot of money because you're going to be reinvesting in other product and that type of stuff. So I think um, one of the messages that I try to tell people is, be realistic in your expectations when you're on Amazon. um, just like you said, it might not be as easy, but there are some things that are getting easier. It's a give and take type of a thing. And so I really want to just thank you today for joining us at Ecom Insiders, sponsored by SPCTEK, John Tilley from ZonGuru. If you have questions, you can leave them below in the comment fields. If you enjoyed today's session, please subscribe. Um, John, you can ask questions at Zon, Guru, GURU.com, ZonGuru, and he'll be happy to help you with any questions that you have about AI. I have found today to be really educational because I'm not really the technical person. I oversee sales and marketing, so I'm not as technical as some of these guys like John are. And I'm glad to know that we've got good, reliable experts out there. John, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. That was amazing. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, then we'll let you go and talk to you later.